In the world of firearms, not every gun is worth its weight in brass or cash. As we head into 2025, there are some guns out there that might look cool, come from big names, or have impressive specs on paper, but they're simply not worth the investment. Today, I'm diving into the expensive, the hyped up, and the overrated firearms that, in my experience, just don't live up to their price tags. You've probably heard of some of these H&K, FN, CZ legendary brands, no doubt. But even the best-known manufacturers sometimes miss the mark. I'm here to break down why certain models left me more than a little disappointed. And it's not just my opinion. I've seen these guns fail under pressure, fall short on modern essentials, or get outperformed by competitors for half the price. So, if you want to make the smartest choices in 2025, stick around. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a first-time buyer, this list could save you from a bad investment and keep your hard-earned money in your pocket, where it belongs. Number 30. Altor Pistol. The Altor Pistol is one of the most unusual and frankly impractical handguns I've ever had the misfortune to use. This single-shot 9mm pistol might be compact, but that's about the only thing going for it. To load it, you unscrew the entire barrel, place the round directly in the chamber, and screw it back together. There's no standard trigger either. Instead, you pull down a lever that flicks up with enough force to send the gun flying out of your hands if you're not careful. The lack of a traditional trigger mechanism makes it hard to aim accurately, and the recoil is far harsher than it should be for such a small caliber due to its minimalist design. Reliability is another major issue. Because the pistol is made with inexpensive materials and has a loose construction, you're left wondering if it will even fire or if it might just fall apart in your hands. With a price tag under $100, I can see why some might consider it as a just-in-case option. But trust me, you're better off with just about anything else. This pistol is closer to a novelty item than a serious self-defense tool. In a life-threatening situation, I'd rather have a knife or even a heavy flashlight over the Altor. A weapon should inspire confidence, but with the Altor, you'll be left hoping it doesn't fall apart before you can even take a shot. Number 29. Intratec TEC-22. The Intratec TEC-22, also known as the Scorpion, might look like a cool piece of gear, but when it comes to function, it's a disaster. This semi-automatic pistol, modeled after the iconic TEC-9, is chambered in 22 LR, which is already a questionable choice for self-defense. To make matters worse, it's plagued with reliability issues. This gun jams so often that you'll end up treating it like a single shot, manually cycling each round to get it to feed properly. It lacks a feed ramp, so it basically relies on gravity and luck to chamber a round, and that's a gamble I'm not willing to take. One major flaw is its cheap, stamped metal construction, which makes it feel flimsy and unbalanced in hand. The TEC-22 comes with an impressive-looking 30-round magazine, but when the gun only fires reliably about one shot at a time, that's hardly an advantage. As far as self-defense goes, the 22 LR caliber is already on the low end of effectiveness, and pairing it with an unreliable, clunky gun like the TEC-22 just makes matters worse. Sure, it has a certain bad guy aesthetic, but if you want something with similar looks and far better reliability, there are countless options. In short, the TEC-22 might be a conversation starter, but it's no self-defense tool. Number 28. Thunderstruck S333 Volley Fire. The Thunderstruck S333 Volley Fire might be one of the most perplexing guns on this list. The design concept, firing 2 rounds of 22 Magnum at once, might sound innovative, but in practice, it's more problematic than practical. The gun's dual-barrel system forces you to pull a bizarre, heavy trigger that's one of the most awkward and uncomfortable I've ever used. Instead of a standard single or double-action trigger, you're pulling on a unique setup that places enormous strain on your finger, making accurate shots nearly impossible. What's worse is that the recoil from firing 2 rounds at once in the small frame is intense, leading to reduced control and accuracy. The Thunderstruck's lack of traditional sights adds another level of frustration. You're essentially pointing and hoping for the best. It's marketed as a self-defense weapon, but I wouldn't trust it in any serious situation. Misfires and malfunctions are all too common with this model, and the 22 Magnum rounds, while speedy, are still on the weaker end of self-defense ammunition. Overall, the Thunderstruck S333 feels like a novelty gun that's more for show than for real-world protection. The dual-barrel idea might have seemed inventive on paper, but in reality, it results in a gun that's hard to handle, unreliable, and unsuitable for anything beyond a conversation piece. If you're serious about self-defense, you'll want to pass on this one. Number 27. Girsan 2311. I had high hopes for the Girsan 2311, especially since I'm a fan of 1911 style pistols. The idea of a double-stack 9mm at a reasonable price was appealing, and I thought I was getting a solid option that might offer the classic 1911 feel with modern capacity. However, the reality was a complete letdown. Despite being priced around $700, the Girsan 2311 felt every bit like a budget gun in all the worst ways. My experience with it was riddled with malfunctions, everything from failures to feed and extract to loose components that couldn't stay in place. One of the biggest disappointments was the trigger, which felt like an 8-pound rock. The main appeal of a 1911 style pistol is usually its smooth, crisp single-action trigger, but with the Girsan, it just felt heavy and clunky, completely defeating the purpose. Additionally, the magazine catch is made from low-quality material, causing the magazines to fall out mid-shooting. The recoil was harsher than expected, partly due to poor springing, making it uncomfortable and hard to control during extended sessions. The 2311 was unreliable, and the ejection pattern was all over the place. I've never had a gun spit brass directly back at my face like this. You'd be much better off spending your $700 on a more reliable option like the Live Free Armory Apollo or even an FN model. This gun is a hard pass for me if you're looking for something trustworthy to carry. Number 26. Bond Arms Honeybee. The Bond Arms Honeybee is a Derringer-style pistol, and while it may bring a bit of Old West nostalgia, it has no place as a modern carry gun. Chambered in 22 LR, the Honeybee is nearly the size and weight of a Glock 26, yet it only offers 2 shots, which is laughable for a gun of this size. Instead of getting a reliable, compact firearm with decent capacity, you're left with a bulky, 2-shot gun that's difficult to operate effectively in a stressful situation. Reloading it feels like an old-fashioned ritual, and the process is neither quick nor easy. The design of the Honeybee doesn't help either. It has a single-action setup, meaning you have to cock the hammer for each shot. Add to this a poorly designed sight, essentially just a single, oversized post on the front, and you're left with something that's far from accurate or effective. The 22 LR caliber, while inexpensive, doesn't pack the stopping power needed for self-defense. Even worse, the recoil from such a small gun can feel unmanageable, making it harder to control than other pistols of similar size. If you're considering a compact gun, skip the nostalgia and opt for something like the Ruger LCP or even a small 9mm. The Honeybee might be fun for a collection, but it's utterly impractical as a carry option. Number 25. Taurus PT-22. The Taurus PT-22 has made a name for itself as one of the least reliable handguns in its category, and for good reason. Marketed as an affordable alternative to the Beretta Tomcat, the PT-22 falls drastically short of expectations. Although it features the unique tip-up barrel design intended for easy loading, it's riddled with issues that make it nearly impossible to rely on. The metal construction is low quality, and the gun often feels as if it's made from recycled beer cans rather than durable steel. In my experience, the PT-22 jammed and malfunctioned constantly. It's also challenging to load due to the finicky barrel design. Taurus aimed to make this gun user-friendly for those with limited hand strength, but they missed the mark entirely. Rather than being convenient, the tip-up barrel and overall build make it more of a headache. It holds only 8 rounds of 22 LR, a weak caliber for self-defense, so you're left with limited firepower even if it does manage to shoot. To make matters worse, the PT-22's trigger is long and heavy, which can be frustrating and fatiguing. The controls are poorly placed and difficult to operate, making the PT-22 a gun I wouldn't trust for personal safety. You're better off investing in a reliable small-frame gun like the Beretta Tomcat or a Ruger LCP in 380, which offers far more reliability in a similarly sized package. Number 24. Braverman Pen Gun. The Braverman Pen Gun is one of those firearms that catches your eye immediately. It's essentially a pen-sized single-shot pistol, and that alone gives it a cool factor. It's something you might see in a spy movie or imagine James Bond carrying, but don't let the novelty fool you. As far as practicality goes, this gun falls short in almost every way that counts for self-defense. It's chambered in small calibers like 22, 25, and 32 ACP, none of which are ideal for self-defense, and it's notoriously difficult to handle. To fire it, you have to twist it open, pull the barrel out, load a round, twist it back, and hope you can line it up accurately in a crisis. Beyond the loading inconvenience, the Braverman Pen Gun's accuracy and power are dismal. I tested it at about 15 yards and was lucky to hit my target once out of several attempts, making it nearly useless for defense beyond close range. And while it's a unique collector's item, relying on it in a real defensive scenario would be a mistake. If you're looking for an everyday carry gun, almost anything else will be more effective and user-friendly. Stick with a reliable, purpose-built firearm that's tested for accuracy and ease of use, like a Ruger LCP or a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, rather than this impractical novelty. Number 23. Smith & Wesson CSX. When I first heard about the Smith & Wesson CSX, I was genuinely excited. This compact, single-action 9mm had the potential to offer the best of both worlds. The lightweight build of modern polymer pistols combined with the smooth trigger pull of a classic 1911. But after testing it, my hopes faded quickly. While the idea of a single-action concealed carry gun sounds great, the CSX has an unusually stiff, clunky trigger that disrupts its accuracy and responsiveness, especially in rapid-fire scenarios. And with its manual safety, which isn't the most intuitive to disengage, you'll find yourself fumbling when you need speed the most. One of the biggest letdowns of the CSX is its lack of reliability. I've encountered multiple jams and failures to fire with this gun, which makes it a poor choice for anyone who needs a reliable, ready-to-fire sidearm. Considering Smith & Wesson's other offerings like the M&P Shield, which is one of my go-to recommendations for concealed carry, the CSX feels like a swing and a miss. For the same price, you could get a Shield Plus Performance Center or even a Glock 43, both of which are far more reliable options for daily carry. The CSX is a classic example of a gun with potential that just doesn't deliver where it counts. Number 22. SCCY CPX-2. The SCCY CPX-2 is an entry-level pistol that often attracts buyers because of its low price point, but unfortunately, you get what you pay for with this one. While affordability is a plus, everything else about this gun screams budget quality. The CPX-2 has one of the longest, grittiest trigger pulls I've ever encountered, making it difficult to fire accurately or rapidly. On top of that, I had a consistent issue with gas blowback every time I pulled the trigger, something you definitely don't want happening in a defensive situation. In terms of reliability, the CPX-2 left a lot to be desired. I experienced a frustrating number of jams and malfunctions during testing. Add to that the fact that it's one of the least accurate guns I've shot, and it's hard to see why anyone would choose this for daily carry. While it's tempting to pick up a pistol at the $250 price range, there are better options out there that are worth the extra investment, such as the Taurus G3C. The G3C is affordable yet much more reliable, with a smoother trigger and far fewer malfunctions. If you're on a tight budget, avoid the SCCY CPX-2. It's just not worth the hassle or the risk in a real-life situation. Number 21. Remington RP9. The Remington RP9 had high expectations when it was released, especially since Remington is known for its iconic rifles and shotguns. However, when it comes to handguns, the RP9 falls disappointingly short. This full-sized 9mm feels bulky and unwieldy, especially considering it's marketed as a potential carry option. Despite its 18-round capacity, the RP9 struggles with reliability and often fails to feed properly. Accuracy was also subpar, with a heavy trigger that made it challenging to keep consistent groupings on target. Another major issue with the RP9 is its competitive market position. For the same price or a little more, you can get your hands on something like a Canik TP9 series or an IWI Masada, both of which outperform the RP9 in every category from accuracy to ease of use. Personally, I would much rather rely on a Glock or Smith & Wesson M&P for full-sized carry. Both brands offer greater reliability, a more comfortable fit, and consistent performance. Unless you're specifically looking for malfunction clearance practice, the RP9 is one to skip. Remington may have hit the mark with other firearms, but this pistol misses it entirely. Number 20. CZ Custom A01. Let's kick off the list with the CZ Custom A01, a gun that initially had me intrigued but ultimately left me underwhelmed. I went into it expecting a high-end competition pistol, something that would outperform its competitors with ease. And while the A01 has that custom look and feel, it just doesn't justify its hefty price tag. One major issue is the weight. This thing is built like a tank, which might sound good at first, but it actually makes it cumbersome in competitive settings where agility and speed matter. Reliability was another letdown. In my testing, the A01 didn't bring the consistency you'd expect at this price point. I had a few failures, and in competition, that's simply unacceptable. For a gun costing over $2,000, that's a tough pill to swallow. When compared to the CZ Shadow 2, which performs just as well, if not better, and costs significantly less, it's hard to recommend the A01. If you're looking for a reliable, well-built competition pistol, I'd steer you toward the Shadow 2 and save yourself a good chunk of change. Number 19. FN509 LS Edge. Now, don't get me wrong, FN makes some fantastic firearms, but the LS Edge doesn't quite hit the mark for me. Priced upwards of $1,300, it's a gun that seems to be struggling with its own identity. FN packed it with features that, on paper, should make it an elite pistol, but in practice, it feels like they don't quite come together. The LS Edge has a high-end look, and I'll give it that, but shooting it feels disjointed. The trigger is decent, but I wouldn't call it top tier, and the added performance enhancements don't actually bring anything groundbreaking to the table. At this price, it competes with some really solid options, and the LS Edge just doesn't stand out. For shooters looking to up their game, there are better, more affordable choices out there that deliver similar or even superior performance. The FN509 LS Edge just feels like an attempt to grab the premium market without a lot of payoff for the buyer. Number 18. HK-SL8. At number 18, we have the HK-SL8, a rifle that's certainly eye-catching but ultimately misses the mark in practicality. The SL8 is a civilian version of the G36, but thanks to import laws, it's been heavily modified, and not for the better. The SL8 sports a single-stack 10-round magazine, which, for a semi-automatic rifle, feels like a huge limitation. You're supposed to be able to shoot fast and efficiently, but constantly reloading because of the low capacity? That gets old quickly. The SL8 is also a bit of a beast to handle. It's bulky, weighing in at about 8.6 pounds with a 20-inch barrel, which makes it cumbersome for anything other than bench shooting. And at around $2,000, you're paying for that weight too. Its ergonomics feel dated, which only adds to the awkwardness of handling it. If you're looking for a reliable, tactical-style rifle, you'd be better off with something like a BCM or Daniel Defense model. Both offer better performance, modern ergonomics, and a price that doesn't make you wince. The SL8 looks cool, but that's about where its appeal ends for me. Number 17. FN 5.7. Let's talk about the FN 5.7. Now, this is one of those pistols that has a bit of a cult following, especially among gamers and fans of the unique 5.7 by 28mm round. But after spending time with a couple of FN 5.7, I have to say, it just doesn't live up to the hype. For a pistol that starts around $1,000 and can go as high as $1,500, you'd expect something pretty exceptional. Instead, what you get is a gun that's overpriced and, frankly, impractical for most shooters. Sure, the 5.7 by 28mm round has its appeal, but it's expensive and can be hard to find. The recoil is surprisingly manageable, but for the price, you'd want more than just low recoil and a 10 to 20 round capacity. When you stack it up against alternatives like the Palmetto State 5.7, which is priced at $300 to $400, the FN 5.7's value really starts to fall apart. The Palmetto model offers similar performance with better ergonomics and costs a fraction of the price. If you're looking for an effective, unique caliber without breaking the bank, the FN 5.7 isn't the way to go. There are better options that won't empty your wallet just for a niche experience. Number 16. POF Tombstone. The POF Tombstone is definitely a head-turner. A lever-action rifle in 9mm? That's unique, and it's something that could really work if executed well. Unfortunately, this one just doesn't deliver. Right off the bat, the lever feels stiff and uncomfortable, which makes operating it more of a chore than it should be. And for a gun designed around a modern twist on lever action, it really lacks in the reliability department, with frequent jams and feeding issues during my testing. At over $1,500, it's priced like a premium rifle, but the performance is anything but. Sure, it looks cool, but if you're looking for a reliable lever action experience, you're better off with something like a Henry or Rossi. Both offer smooth operation, solid reliability, and better overall value. The POF Tombstone might stand out visually, but practically, it's a disappointment. Number 15. KE Arms WWSD Carbine. Next up is the KE Arms WWSD Carbine, a rifle with a lot of hype behind it. As someone who appreciates the legacy of Eugene Stoner's AR design, I was eager to see how this modernized, ultra-lightweight interpretation would hold up. But after putting it through its paces, I found it a bit lacking. While the lightweight polymer lower certainly makes it unique, it also feels fragile compared to traditional AR builds. Priced at around $1,500, it's competing with some fantastic rifles, but it lacks the modular features that have become standard in today's market. Adjustability is limited, and the rifle sacrifices durability in its pursuit of lightness. For a modern AR that performs reliably and doesn't feel flimsy, you'd be better off with a traditional setup from a brand like Aero Precision or BCM. The WWSD Carbine is a cool concept, but in execution, it falls short of its potential. Number 14. Sig P210 Carry. At number 14, we have the Sig P210 Carry, a gun that brings a lot of nostalgia but not enough modern utility. Don't get me wrong, the P210 is a classic, and I've always appreciated its craftsmanship and accuracy. But for a carry pistol priced around $1,400, it's missing a lot of features that make other handguns in this price range more practical. The P210 Carry lacks essentials like a rail for mounting accessories and compatibility with red dots, which is becoming a standard expectation for a pistol at this price. In terms of capacity, it's also limited, especially when compared to newer models with more magazine options. If you're in the market for a carry gun with higher capacity, modern features, and a price that doesn't hurt as much, the Sig P365 Spectre Comp is a much better option. The P210 Carry is beautiful and refined, but as a practical carry gun, it doesn't quite hold up in today's landscape. Number 13. Guncrafter Hellcat X2 Commander. The Guncrafter Hellcat X2 Commander certainly catches your eye with its luxurious build and high-end finish. But at around $4,000, you expect not just beauty but flawless performance. And sadly, it misses the mark. I'll admit, it's a well-crafted 1911 style pistol, but during my time with it, I encountered issues with excessive recoil and occasional malfunctions, which isn't acceptable at this price point. For a gun that costs as much as some of the best 1911s out there, the Hellcat X2 Commander doesn't offer enough to justify its price. If you're looking for a high-quality 1911 that won't leave you regretting your investment, there are other brands, think Wilson Combat or Nighthawk, that provide top-notch performance without the trade-offs in reliability. Number 12. Henry Homesteader. At number 12, we have the Henry Homesteader. Henry is known for its craftsmanship, and the Homesteader brings a modern take on the M1 carbine style, but the execution falls short. It's a nice-looking rifle, but at $900 you expect reliability, and the Homesteader struggles here. I had multiple failures to feed, which in a pistol-caliber carbine meant for fun or defense is a big red flag. For this price, the Homesteader feels outdated in performance. If you're after a dependable PCC, the Ruger PC Carbine offers a better experience with reliable feeding, more customization options, and a price that's easier on the wallet. The Homesteader has nostalgia, but it doesn't quite live up to its namesake. Number 11. Tommy Built G36. The Tommy Built G36 is an interesting take on the civilian-friendly version of the G36, and as a collector's item, it has appeal. But practically, not so much. First off, the price tag hovers around $2,500, and for that, you're getting a rifle that's cool to look at but less fun to actually shoot. The design makes it difficult to accessorize, and parts availability is a constant struggle. For the price and lack of flexibility, you're better off investing in a modern AR-15 or even an AK platform that will serve you better in terms of performance, reliability, and aftermarket support. The Tommy Built G36 is best left to collectors. For regular shooters, it's an investment with little return. Number 10. Gideon Shadow. At number 10, we have the Gideon Shadow, a custom pistol that initially sparked my interest with its sleek, tactical look. But after taking it to the range, I quickly realized it doesn't live up to its price tag. It's marketed as a high-performance pistol, but during testing, I found it plagued with reliability issues. A pistol that can't consistently cycle rounds is hardly worth the hefty investment they're asking for. At around $1,500, the Gideon Shadow feels like it's trying to be exclusive without delivering the performance to back it up. If you're looking for a reliable, competition-ready handgun, the CZ Shadow 2 or even a Glock 34 will give you similar performance at a fraction of the price. Number 9. FNPS-90. The FNPS-90 is a firearm that has achieved icon status thanks to its futuristic look and the unique 5.7 by 28mm cartridge. But as cool as it looks, it's more of a novelty than a practical choice. Priced at over $1,500, it's not the most affordable option, and that 5.7mm ammo doesn't come cheap or easy to find either. For those thinking of using it for self-defense or even range shooting, the price of ammunition and the gun itself can quickly add up. While I appreciate the PS90's place in the firearms world, it doesn't offer enough to make it a sensible purchase for most people. If you're looking for a high-capacity, compact firearm, there are better choices at lower costs. The PS90 might look like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, but for real-world practicality, it's not the best value. Number 8. CZ Scorpion 3 Carbine. Let's kick off with the CZ Scorpion 3 Carbine. I'll admit, I have a soft spot for the Scorpion lineup. They're fun, reliable, and easy to handle. But when it comes to practicality, especially with the Carbine variant, I'm left wondering if it really earns its keep. At full carbine length, chambered in 9mm, the Scorpion Carbine is neither compact enough for a PDW roll nor powerful enough for intermediate distances beyond 100 yards, where you typically want a rifle caliber. It has a folding stock, but it's still bulky, making it a challenge to fit into a standard backpack or use as a discrete truck gun. Sure, it can work as a fun range gun or even a competition trainer, but for serious self-defense or survival, it lacks the versatility that a rifle or a more compact PCC would offer. If you're interested in the Scorpion, I'd recommend the pistol version with a brace. It's far more practical and easy to maneuver in tight spaces. Number 7. Derringer. The Derringer is one of those firearms that I want to love for its history and pocket-sized appeal, but when I think about practicality, it just doesn't hold up. Despite its status as a classic backup gun, the Derringer lacks the reliability, capacity, and ease of use that modern concealed carry options provide. Most Derringers hold only 2 rounds, which might have been sufficient in the 1800s, but today, I'd argue it's far too limiting, especially considering the alternatives out there. With options like the Ruger LCP Max or Glock 42, both offering higher capacity, better reliability, and a size that's nearly as compact, the Derringer feels outdated. If you're considering a backup gun, I'd go with a modern, reliable pocket pistol that can offer more rounds, quicker reloading, and overall peace of mind in a high-stress situation. Number 6. AR-15 Shotgun. I have to mention the AR-15 style shotgun here, despite how much I wanted this concept to work. At first glance, an AR-15 pattern shotgun sounds perfect for those who like familiarity across platforms. But in my experience, these shotguns are plagued with issues. I've tried 2 different models, both of which came with malfunctions galore. Feeding issues, ejection problems, you name it. I even attempted to return them with no luck, which tells me they aren't built with the reliability or durability I'd expect from a serious defensive shotgun. With so many reputable shotgun options from Benelli, Mossberg, Remington, and Smith & Wesson, going with an AR pattern shotgun just isn't worth the headache. Sure, they look tactical, but aesthetics mean little in a defensive situation. Stick to proven designs that offer reliability, because when it comes to a defensive shotgun, function should always come before form. Number 5. M1 Carbine. The M1 Carbine holds a special place in my collection, but as much as I love it, I can't ignore its impracticality in today's market. Chambered in .30 carbine, it's accurate, lightweight, and a piece of history. But here's the issue. .30 carbine ammo is pricey, often over $1 per round. For what you get, it's just not efficient for range days or defensive use. For those looking for a classic firearm with affordable ammo, the SKS is a great alternative. Chambered in 7.62 by 39mm, it's not only cheaper to shoot, but it also offers similar benefits in terms of weight and reliability. I'll always appreciate my M1 carbine, but if you're looking for practicality, there are better options available that don't break the bank every time you want to pull the trigger. Number 4. Glock 43. Now, Glock fans, don't come after me just yet. I respect the Glock 43. It's been a popular choice for concealed carry for years. But in today's market, it's hard to ignore that the Glock 43 feels a bit outdated. With a 6-round capacity, it doesn't hold up well against modern alternatives, especially considering that the Glock 43X and even the Glock 26 offer higher capacity with similar or smaller profiles. For backup carry, I'd argue the Glock 42 in .380 is a better choice. It's lighter, equally reliable, and still very easy to conceal. If you prefer something with a bit more capacity, the Glock 43X gives you 10 rounds without adding much bulk. As much as I respect the Glock 43 in today's market, it's lost some of its appeal compared to newer, higher capacity options. Number 3. Pistol caliber carbines, PCC, and personal defense weapons, PDW. Let's talk about PCCs and PDWs. I love these firearms for their fun factor and versatility in certain scenarios, but they have their limitations. PCCs are great for close-range shooting, making them ideal for home defense or range plinking. However, the moment you start pushing past 100 yards, these pistol caliber firearms lose a lot of their effectiveness. For any situation requiring reach or stopping power at distance, a rifle caliber is just better suited. Then there's the size issue. Some PCCs, like the CZ Scorpion 3 carbine, are as large as a standard rifle yet lack the performance you'd get from a true rifle. They're bulky and hard to fit into a small bag or vehicle compartment, limiting their practicality as portable defensive tools. While compact PCCs like the Chris Vector MP5S or even the Strebog with a brace offer better usability, I find that a short-barreled rifle or compact AR platform generally provides more bang for your buck. So, while PCCs and PDWs have their place, I wouldn't rely on them if I needed a versatile firearm with solid range capability. Number 2. Angstadt Arms MDP9. The Angstadt Arms MDP9 comes in with high expectations. It's marketed as a compact, modern alternative to the MP5, with a hefty price tag around $2,400. But despite its sleek look and tactical appeal, the MDP9 has left me unimpressed. While I wanted it to live up to the hype, the reality is that it's plagued with reliability issues. The MDP9 is supposed to be a high-performance PDW, but when a gun marketed for self-defense fails to cycle reliably, that's a huge red flag. For the price, you can get a more proven PDW like an MP5 clone or even a solid AR pistol that will run smoothly under pressure. If you're considering a compact 9mm PDW, the MDP9 isn't worth the investment. Other PDWs have shown they can handle the pressure, but the MDP9 still has some growing up to do. Number 1. Desert Eagle. Finally, we arrive at the iconic Desert Eagle. I get it. The Desert Eagle is a legend, and as a fun gun, it has its place. But let's be honest here, this thing is impractical. Weighing anywhere between 4 to 12 pounds and available in heavy-hitting calibers like .44 Magnum and .50 AE, it's far from manageable in a practical scenario. Carrying or training with the Desert Eagle. Forget about it. It's heavy, unwieldy, and the low magazine capacity is a drawback, especially when there are more efficient big-bore options out there. For those who love the idea of a powerful handgun, I'd recommend a revolver instead. A .44 Magnum revolver, for instance, gives you that big-bore punch but in a more compact, reliable, and affordable package. The Desert Eagle might be a blast at the range, but as a practical tool, it's simply too much gun in all the wrong ways. And there you have it, my list of guns that, while interesting or iconic in their own ways, don't quite justify the investment when it comes to practicality and performance. Remember, these are just my opinions based on my own experiences, and hey, I still appreciate some of these firearms for what they are. But if you're looking to make the most of your hard-earned money, I'd think twice about these picks. I'd love to hear what you all think. Did any of your favorites make the list? Or maybe there's a gun you think should have been included. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more honest reviews and gun content. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, I appreciate your support. I'll see you in the next one.